Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. We are going deep on last night's bizarre finish, so buckle up. It's obvious how we begin the show today. We all saw what happened on the last play of last night's game in Seattle. We all have opinions as to whether or not that was a touchdown. The NFL issued a statement today saying that, yes, there should have been offensive pass interference on Golden Tate.
Really?
And no, the result isn't wrong. The NFL stands by the Seattle touchdown call. Aaron Rodgers today called the league's response, and I want to quote accurately, garbage, unquote. What do you call it, Mikey?
It's gutless, and it's unimaginative, and it's arrogant to the extreme, even for the NFL. See, it's not enough to be the smartest person in the room, but you're going to presume that everyone else is a moron, like we didn't see it was an interception. It was an interception, so anything else is either inaccurate or a lie, depending on your agenda. The officials did everything wrong, the whole game. That just happened to be the penultimate call, Tony. But for the NFL to come out with this statement, it's insulting to anyone else's intelligence, and they just presume you're so stupid you'll consume it and not ask questions.
I think what the NFL has tried to do in its statement is be all things to all people. In other words, stay with me on this. It throws a bone to Green Bay in the sense that it says that's clear push on Golden Tate, which would obviate the touchdown. There would not have been a touchdown. Then it throws a bone to Seattle saying, but the later call, we can justify the later call, and it throws a bone to the replacement referees by saying, you got the big call right, because the minor call is the interference.
But they didn't get it right.
So, okay, but it tries to be all things to all people, and for me, fails on all regards because it's an interception. It's an interception.
Well, here's the other thing, Tony, which the NFL statement is too lazy to address. And again, it just insults the intelligence of anyone who watched this. You have one official, all right, coming to the pylon, signaling touchdown. You have another one, the back judge, who, by the way, is the only guy out there with any real experience in real games in college conference football, and he looks at it, peers into it, and, Tony, he does not signal touchdown, and the NFL doesn't even deal with that.
I understand, but you're talking about procedural matters here, and there's two things that have to be said. One is people are going to complain that the decision is not going to be reversed. I don't think it should be reversed. I think you have to live with it like they lived with Ed Hockley when he took away the ability for San Diego to win a game a few years ago. The other part, to me, is that there was visual evidence to change that call and show that it was an interception. And what the NFL is doing here, by narrowing its focus, it's sort of like doing what the Supreme Court did 300 years ago.
It's covering its butt.
Well, yes.
And that's what it does best.
That's exactly right. So it's not addressing the larger problem.
Because it doesn't want to. Because the larger problem is the NFL, the commissioner's office, and the owners that the commissioner represents, they have blown it. They have gotten this wrong. They are hurting their product. They're screaming about integrity when it comes to a player pulling up his socks. But they're too lame and not men enough to deal with what everybody in the country is seeing and angry about today. That's what bothers me. Nice of you to be so calm. After dissecting such an egregiously bad call, the conversation, maybe I should say the hope, turned to whether this specific debacle would be the tipping point that prompts the NFL to soften its stance and feel more motivated to get a deal that would actually get the regular officials back on the field. Tone, is this episode the impetus to get a deal right now, this week?
I'm going to be calm on this one, too, and I believe there will be a deal in place by Thursday before the next NFL Network game. I believe what will happen at this point is that Roger Goodell will bring in a hardcore group of owners and a group of people negotiating on the part of the officials and lock the door and say the following.
And we're told they're talking today. They're
say the following thing. We're going to bleed a little, and you're going to bleed a little, but we have to stop this now. And the reason to do it now is because every team has now played 3 full games under the replacement refs. You get it done by Thursday. Nobody gets penalized by having to play a 4th game.
The Packers are already penalized. I don't believe that, Tony. I don't believe there is any impetus. I believe that the league would have to be embarrassed and introspective for that to happen, and I think they're beyond that. It's a dictatorship. Even though 70,000 people reportedly called and left voicemail messages, they don't care. They're not paying attention. Tony, when you have the ratings that the NFL has, the popularity, when you are the primary source, the biggest source of sports and entertainment in this country, you could give a damn, and this is what the NFL does repeatedly.
I'm hearing your rage and I'm hearing your anger. I get
and it's not directed at the officials. It's directed at the league.
Stay with me for a second on this particular thing. The NFL has lost control of its own narrative.
Yes.
The games aren't important anymore. the reaction to referees like Bill Belichick and Kyle Shanahan, and now last night when games are lost because of replacement referees. So the NFL can't sell the game anymore. What it has to do is defend the decision having these replacement referees. This is the smartest PR organization that ever lived.
Yes,
due to
agreed.
Mr. PR himself, Pete Rozelle, originally. They're going to sit there and they're going to say, we're losing the fight here. We have to change.
I think they're going to say we're winning more eyeballs. I am cynical on this, and you are not cynical when it comes to the NFL. And I mean specifically the people who run the NFL. They got more eyeballs tuned in. They're going to charge more for commercials.
You asked me my opinion, and I think it's a tipping point.
Right.
I do.
Okay, I don't.
Persistent Roger Goodell antagonist Drew Brees tweeted this on last night's call, quote, ironic that our league punishes those based on conduct detrimental, whose conduct is detrimental now, unquote. Mike, going forward, do you think incidents like this might get people to turn away from the NFL? Can controversy like this hurt the NFL?
No. Controversy doesn't hurt anything when it comes to more people tuning in. We live in a world now where what happened last night? Twitter and Facebook blew up.
Right.
SportsCenter got the largest rating it has in a while. When? Right. After the game that was on ESPN. Right. This is what we do as a country. When things are more controversial, reality TV, we tune in record numbers. No, it's not going to hurt the league.
I think in the short term, people will tune in when you consider this will become the most famous touchdown ever in a Game 3 in Seattle, but more famous than the Immaculate Reception, more famous than the pass to Dwight Clark. But I want to go another way again. Because the lack of confidence by one important group of people may change your mind a little bit. Gamblers. This league doesn't exist without gambling. It's the only league where people watch games outside of their own little jurisdiction. And gamblers are going to look at a game like this.
How much money last night changed?
I don't know the amount of money.
Of millions.
But what they're going to say is this. It appeared that those referees were cowed by a hometown crowd. And so we can't have faith in the integrity of the game. I know that's ironic because they're gamblers outside the law, but they have to have faith in the integrity of the game.
I agree with you, but you're looking at a long-term view here.
Yes.
Those gamblers are still going to the sports book in every casino in Las Vegas this weekend. And you know what else?
But they're more uneasy. They're more uneasy because
uneasy while they go to the window.
The wild card is the replacement referees. It's a wild card.
Do you think fewer people are going to watch or buy jerseys or buy the beer that is advertised during the game?
Not in the short term, no. Absolutely not, no.
Okay.
Let's